I think I understand what happened now. Back in 2006, the player performed a server crashing ritual that unintentionally resurrected a ragdoll via immolating it on a cross. After the player's server crashed, the charred remains of the ragdoll became the pitch-black vessel that had been used by the newly formed entity to interact with the world around them. Having become self-aware of its existence within Gary's mod, this mysterious entity began stalking the player at a distance in order to try and find out how it could exit the game itself. Because of either harboring no genuine ill will towards the player, which gave them life, or fearing that attacking them would result in them being wiped, via the game's deletion, the entity mostly refrained from directly interaction with the player. At least, initially. Due to the fact that the entity was akin to a techno-eldritch abomination, however, its very presence began to take a toll on the player's computer. The audio-visual distortions that accompanied the entity whenever it was caught on camera was sort of like the technological version of a human trying to comprehend a Lovecraftian deity. In this case, the computer couldn't decipher the entity's existence in any rational manner, causing it to produce those increasingly corrupted shots seen on the previous videos. The longer that the entity remained in the game, the more powerful it got, and, in turn, the more unstable its vessel became. By the time of the penultimate video, its mere presence in the player's locale greatly corrupted both the captured footage and the game's laws of physics. With time running out, the entity decided to enact its last-minute plan to escape from Gary's mod. At this point, the entity's been stalking the player long enough to know pretty much everything about them, especially the destructive capabilities of their arsenal. They used their presence to lure the player over to the portion of the map that they feared the most, one that they rarely visited, which allowed the entity to slowly weaken it over time without them noticing. Because that portion of the map had been weakened, it would be much more susceptible to crashes and glitches, and as we all know, piling a crap load of explosive barrels into a small place and blowing them up usually causes the game to fritz out on a good day. So, by tricking the player into confronting them, the entity essentially had them make an explosion that was so powerful, that it broke the area's weakened code and created an opening that'd allow the entity to remove itself from the game, and transfer itself somewhere else, presumably into a more advanced game, or even the internet itself. The hole that we see the player investigate is the physical representation of the breach that set of the entity free, serving as a temporary gateway between Gary's mod and wherever the entity ended up, hence the mid-hallway texture change. Whatever happens to the player is unknown, but it's possible that they ended up encountering something in the hole that temporarily erased their memories of the whole entity shindig.
It might make sense for it to move either through the internet, like you said, or through a multiplayer game, maybe even with classic GM videos. If so, it's pretty neat.
I suppose it depends on whether or not we consider the gmod9fan storyline to be interconnected with classic GM videos canon. If it's the latter, then I'm pretty sure that the mysterious entity would have ended up heading into a multiplayer game. If we're to believe that all of these Gary's mod videos are in the same canon, however, do you think that the player's ritual in how to crash a server in gmod9 might have been the catalyst for these mysterious entities? Maybe the crucifixion didn't only awaken the cheaple ragdoll that hung from it, but many more ragdolls across the entire game.
Well, in the how to crash a server video, the black figure's present before the ritual, so maybe it only strengthened the creature.
Good eye, I didn't notice that at first. Considering that new bit of knowledge, then it's fairly likely that the ritual either boosted the mysterious entity's power by a lot, or somehow spawned an entirely new entity that restricted itself to just gmod9fan's game. Alternatively, it could be that the sheer amount of power generated during the ritual was enough to cause some sort of backlogged corruption, which made every recording before the ritual have fragments of the mysterious entity in them.
Hey mate, in the classic GM videos canon exists this image. They are doing the how to crash a server ritual, but this time, the thing is here. The rituals, are they ways to invoke that thing?
I believe that's the case, yeah. It seems that the ritual either creates a new silhouetted cryptid, or summons the same cryptid to the afflicted player's game. Question is, though, how did the ritual originate? Was it something that was found out of sheer dumb luck, or perhaps someone, or something, created it and showed it off to others with a false pretense, in order to spread the cryptid?
It may be that the thing has created its own ritual to get out of the game by sacrificing various ragdolls that became souls that walk in other gmods.